Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today I am showing how to draw wood in colored pencil on paper. So this is something that I don't often do. I think this is the first time that I'm drawing wood with colored pencil. So really fun to draw. I am doing this kingfisher as a piece for Patreon. And in this video I'm showing you only the gray part of the wood, not the green and yellow part, because otherwise the video was going to be too long. But let me know in the comments which other parts of this drawing you would like to see. I'm going to switch between time-lapsed parts and real-time parts, and hopefully you'll be able to see the process really detailed this way. And the full real-time process of the whole drawing is available on Patreon for the $7 tier, so if you're interested in following this drawing along, have a look on there. The link is in the video description. And let's get started. So I'm using Faber-Castell Polychromos as always, and a white Caran d'Ache luminance on Canson 1557 paper, 180 grams, and the size is 8 by 12. So as you can see, I have the branch mapped out and sketched out already, all different shapes. I sketched out beforehand with a dark sepia, and that's also the color that I'm starting out with for the base layer of the wood. So in this case, if you're looking at the reference, the wood is not really brown looking, it's more of a gray tone. So I'm not going to add a lot of brown. Actually, I haven't used any brown in the wood. I mostly used warm grays, but also purple and blue. But we'll get to that later. I'm starting out with dark sepia. It's a very dark, warmer gray. And I'm going to map out the different shapes and put down a very light base layer with it. So I'm mostly working in circular motions, and I'm applying the textures of the wood by pressing a little more in the places where I see shadow and keeping my pressure very light in the places where I see more light, lighter shapes. Very carefully I am going to fill in all these dark gray parts of the wood, drawing around the yellow and green parts. Starting with the area around the paws, I'm making sure to keep the lines around the paws really clean, so that it will be easier to add color on the paws later. So I always like to do the dark parts first and the lighter parts after that, because then I can judge the tones of the lighter parts compared to the darker parts, if you know what I mean. So I do work from light to dark, but in a drawing I decide to do the dark parts, like the dark wood first, and then I'll do the paws. For me that works better. So I have this part sped up about 2 times I think, but you can see how slow I work for this first layer. The first layer is so important, so I don't want to rush this because I want to get an even layering of the color down on the paper. If you have scratches in your base tone or uneven layering, it will really show when you do the burnishing later. I do a lot of burnishing with the white Caran d'Ache, and any unevenness or scratches will really show if you do the burnishing. I'm also following the rounded shape of the wood. Otherwise the drawing will start to look quite flat, so I always follow the structure of the thing that I'm drawing. If it's fur, I'm drawing in the direction of the fur, and now with the wood I am following the rounded shape of the wood. I'm making sure that my pencil is sharp so that I can get my lines really clean. I keep my pressure light to medium in the places where I see the shadows, and light in the lighter places, but I don't make my pressure too heavy because I don't want to saturate the paper too soon. It's really important with working in colored pencil that you add enough layers, enough colors, otherwise the drawing will look flat. So with your first layers, it's very important to keep an eye on your pressure, make sure it's not too heavy. And colored pencil is also a very time-consuming medium, so don't rush the first layers. As you can see, I'm really working around those lighter green parts. There's no shortcut for a texture like this. It's a very complicated texture. Alright, and what I'm doing now is I'm adding violet to the dark sepia I put down. So this violet is a really nice cool tone, contrasts the amount of warm tones I put in. The dark sepia has a very warm tone, this violet is a cool tone, just to get some more color in there. You can see that the overall tone in the wood is kind of a mixture between warm and cool. You can see warm areas but also cool areas. So I try to use both cool and warm tones to get that same effect. Now I'm taking Caput Mortem Violet, my very favorite color from the Polychromos line. And with that I'm going to add more shadow to the branch and also add a lot more depth. So I add a little bit of that, not too much. I don't want to make the branch look too purple. Now I'm going in with gray. This is Payne's gray. It's a cool gray, a bluish gray. It also has a little bit of a green tone to it. And with this I'm going to darken up the shadows even more. Going to focus on adding more detail now, so the shadows, but I'm looking very often at my reference photo. I keep looking at my reference photo almost every few seconds, I would say, and try to recreate the textures that I see. I'm also making the lines around the green and yellow shapes a little bit tighter. So this way I'm slowly building up the colors. Wood, of course, always has a lot of texture to it, so I want to prevent it from going too smooth. Now to fill up the bottom part of the branch I'm using grays, combination of warm grays and cool grays, some lighter grays as well. Build up the color there. And then slowly adding some shadow with darker grays. Still working with the Payne's Grey now. And when I'm going to burnish with the white Caran d'Ache, the colors will lighten up a lot. So I make sure that I have enough layers in, enough color in before I burnish. Otherwise it won't really work. Adding some of the lines and the veins in the wood. Following the structure and the shape of the wood. Now, after adding some more Caput Mortuum violet, I start burnishing. So I have my white Caran d'Ache here, made sure to have it quite sharp. And now I'm going to push the colors into the paper. I do this quite carefully because I don't want to fade out all the details. So I am focusing mostly here on the lighter parts, and I leave alone the very dark shadows that I put in. I'm not pushing hard either. I keep my pressure light to medium, and I keep working around the parts that I left open. So with the burnishing, I just want to smooth out the texture a bit and get rid of the paper texture as well, because I don't want any of the paper texture showing through in the drawing. That's just personal preference. And then I carefully continue, making sure to not smudge the lines. The burnishing will also really enhance all the colors you put down. So it will enhance the amount of purple and blue that I put in. And it just takes practice to know how much of the blue and purple you can add without making it look unnatural. But I really like really colorful looks, so I don't really mind if you see a lot of the purple. Actually, I really like it. And when burnishing, I also follow the rounded shape of the wood. And after finishing the burnishing, the dark part of the wood was done, and this is what the branch turned out like. So I'm not showing you the process of the green and the yellow part. You can find that on Patreon. I can do a video about the feathers if you want to. Let me know if you'd like that. And I hope this video helped you in some way. So I always keep my layers very light and build my drawings up in many different layers, using as many different colors as I can to get the most realistic results. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.